Good afternoon, everyone. This is Juan Andrade, and this is From the Heart, coming to you directly from the Area Career Center in Hammond, Indiana. Before I go on, let me just say this, that the views expressed by the host of From the Heart are not the views of the Area Career Center, Multimedia Department, and staff. Uh, it's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a while since From the Heart has been doing any tapings due to COVID, unfortunately. And so this is our very first taping of From the Heart in some time here in the TV studio of the Area Career Center Multimedia Department, which is run by Stephanie Reiser. So I'm taking the opportunity with a very special guest here on our program to talk about something that I know nothing about because it has to do with sleep safety, and I have no children. But I'll tell you what, I have a brother who has a wife who has 4 children, and 3 of those 4 children are triplicates, Mercedes, Calista, and Selena. And then at some point they had a little brother. So I'm grateful for that. But today, as I was saying, we're going to talk about sleep safety. But before we talk about sleep safety, which I think is a really important and critical issue because it could mean the matter of life and death. Is that correct? So to my very right, I have Miss Vickie Rainwater. And guess what? When she sent me her bio, there's a long list of organizations she is associated with. But today our main focus is going to be sleep safety. So she is the program specialist for Mental Health America of Northwest Indiana. She works with the home visiting programs for healthy families, parents as teachers, and empowering teens as parents. Currently, and facilitating infant sleep, baby safety, me tobacco free, mindful parenting, and thumb body, early learning advisory council, infancy onward, is that United for Families, that's LAUW, Society of Innovators, and the Cedar Lake Historical Association. She has a Bachelor's of Science in Business Management and a certificate in Human Services from Indiana Wesleyan Certificate of Leadership from Institute of Innovative Leadership at Indiana University Northwest. Parents as Teachers, Certified Parent Education Supervisor, and Certificate in Infant Mental Health with Mental Health America of Northwest Indiana. So please welcome Ms. Vickie Rainwater. Vickie, thank you so much for being our guest on From the Heart.
You're welcome.
Well, you know what? I just read off a long list of organizations that you're a part of in terms of programs and so forth. And like I said, today we're going to talk about sleep safety. And actually, ladies and gentlemen, on the second part of our program today, we have an actual crib. We actually have not an actual baby, but we have a doll baby that Ms. Vickie uses in her presentation. So please stay tuned for that. But for now, let's get to know who Vickie Rainwater is. And all of these programs you do as a member then of the Mental Health of America of Northwest Indiana?
Correct, yes. I've been with Mental Health America for about 12 years now.
12 years?
I started Parents as Teachers program about 21 years ago, and I was working for a different agency, and we merged with them in 2009, and it was a beautiful merger, and we were able to start up, when I merged with them, we started up the Empowering Teens as Parents program, so I was really involved in the home visitation portion of it, and when I first started with Mental Health America is when it was really brought to my attention about the infant mortality rates in Indiana. Mental Health America had been already addressing infant mortality rates and trying to educate and teach people, but it was around 2011 when the infant mortality rates in the state of Indiana were so high that we really needed to ramp up the programming that we were doing and start to offer it in a larger setting. So we partnered with the Indiana Health Department, and they were able to supply us with the the pack and plays that we got, which are through Cribs for Kids. And through the state, we started to follow their protocol for training for infant safe sleep. And then we've been working right alongside with the state all the way through. Infant mortality rates were at the highest, where we were ranked in the lowest part of the nation, right around between 2012 and 2017. We were ranked in the top 5% with having the most infant mortality rates in the country. Our Indiana's mortality rates were even higher than if you looked at the third world country of Somalia. Indiana had higher mortality rates than that. And in Lake County, we were ranked #1 in the state, and it wasn't for a good reason. It was because we had the highest amount of infant mortality rates, meaning more of our babies weren't reaching their first birthday than anywhere else in the state or the surrounding states.
Okay, by me, and of course with my co-host on our radio program, I print out a lot of information for use for a radio program, and I do know when it comes to issues of health in our state of Indiana, we rank, I don't know if the proper term is the highest or low, or not near the highest or near the lowest when it comes to doing the right thing that is not being done in our state, and therefore, like, for example, the infant mortality rate. So when you talk about all the issues that we have health-wise in our state of Indiana, based upon all the programs that you do or have some part in it in some way, shape, or form through the organization that you're involved with, is that because of a lack of education?
Yeah, that's what we've really found out, was that with a little bit of education that we can turn this all around. And so again, 2017, we were ranked the highest. That's when Governor Holcomb kicked off the campaign that he wanted us to have the lowest amount of infant mortality rates by 2024. And through Governor Holcomb and Dr. Catherine Box through the health department, they really reached out into the community, and they really reached out into Lake County and embraced us and started spending a lot of time with us, because what we found is a little bit of education works. It was in 2000 that the Back to Sleep campaign actually kicked off. And so in 2000 is when the campaign actually kicked off. So that was only 21 years ago. Did we definitively understand exactly why a baby is safer sleeping on its back versus sleeping on its belly? And when they kicked off that campaign in 2000, those infant mortality rates were reduced by 50% right from the get-go.
So let me ask you this. So did you say you started the Parents as Teachers program?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my question then.
Or I started a Parents as Teachers program.
You started.
Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Parents as Teachers is a national program, and I started one of them.
Parents as Teachers program. Sleep safety. Was that part of your Parents as Teachers program?
It was part of our Parents as Teachers program. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Safe sleep is always very important.
So let me ask you this question then. In addition to sleep safety being a part of Parents as Teachers program that you started, at least, maybe there were others that started in other states, are there other major parts of the program, like sleep safety, that are part of the program you started, 20 years ago?
Yeah, the safe sleep has always been something that we were monitoring. And when you look at 20 years ago, when Parents as Teachers was started, I was working for Hanover Community Schools at the time. And you look back at when the National Institute for Children and Families did the research for safe sleep, they kicked that off in 2000. So Parents as Teachers at that time had the latest information that they were getting through the National Institutes. And so their curriculum is a phenomenal curriculum that's all evidence-based, and that information was included in that curriculum. And so safe sleep as went on, it was always one of those things that intergenerationally it had been passed down through the generations of how you put your children to sleep. So now come 2000, we're stepping in and we're saying, oh, the way that we've been doing it, putting them to sleep on their bellies or putting them to sleep on their side, now we're coming out and we're saying that was the wrong way to do it. So it's reteaching a whole culture, all of the generations that may have followed it that way before, but now we know how babies are safer. Now we know physiologically why babies are safer on their back than on their bellies. Now we can explain it, and it's very simple to explain. It's just taken all of this time to really get that messaging out. Through the state of Indiana, we were at our worst in 2017, but what I can tell you is putting all that information out there and educating people. And whenever I run a session or I work with a mom, I always say, now you're in my ambassador. You'll go out and tell the community. And it's exactly the way that you just started. You started saying, I have nieces and nephews. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows somebody that's got a baby. Whether you're a young person, whether you're an old person, everybody knows. It's going to take all of us to change the dynamics so people understand why babies are actually safer on their back.
Is there a national Parents as Teachers organization?
Yes.
Is there a national sleep safety organization?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. There's a national Healthy Families program. Mental Health America, one of their biggest home visiting program is their Healthy Families program. And they use evidence-based curriculum that, again, includes all of the safe sleep things. And so what's beautiful about our home visitation programs at MHA is their home visitation programs. We're going into the homes and we're working with families. So if they go in and they've had, say, abuelo or a yaya or a grandma who always did it this way, now we have somebody that can come in and go, look, this may be the way that you always did it, but we know better now and we're smarter now. And so this is what's safer. And so we're using the new parents to teach their ancestors to be able to change that paradigm and that dynamic.
Are teen parents participating in these programs?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, in all of our programming, Parents as Teachers has a specialized teen program that's called Empowering Teens as Parents, and we actually work through Hammond schools and work straight with their teens. And then our Healthy Families programs, they also work with teen parents. So our Healthy Families program, where they get their referrals from, is through the OB Navigator. And we also get referrals from other agencies like WIC and prenatal assistance. But they come in through OB Navigator, and then they get referred out to the different programs.
What did you say, OB?
OB Navigator.
What is that, please?
Yeah. OB Navigator is a state program to where if you call in and you're looking for information, they will give you the resources and get you to the right person and the person that can address your issue as quickly as possible.
So is Mental Health America of Northwest Indiana associated with the Indiana Parenting Institute?
As far as collaborating,
yes.
Okay. Yes, we collaborate with them too. Absolutely. When we did the Safe Sleep before COVID, again, Dr. Box was very active in the area, and the Indiana Parenting Institute actually held a luncheon where they brought her up and they brought our First Lady, Mrs. Holcomb, up, and we did a whole thing on infant safe sleep and why it's important for infant safe sleep. So, and they were the host, Indiana Parenting Institute.
And what has been the greatest benefit of providing such a program of infant safe sleep?
So more babies have their first birthday. It's all about the babies. It's all about the babies for all of us, because we want those babies to have their first birthday. And we know that it's a very simple strategy. It really is a very simple strategy that families can follow to make sure that those babies do have their first birthday.
Do you have any children?
I do have children. I have 2 children, but I am not a grandparent.
You're not a grandparent? Okay.
I have 2 adult children, but I am not a grandparent.
Okay. Are you hoping to be a grandparent?
Puppy dogs.
Are you hoping to be a grandparent?
When the time is right for my kids.
Okay.
It has to be right. You know, being a parent is not one size fits all.
Right.
Being a parent is, you have to be ready to be a parent. And that's not saying that you have to be older to be a parent. That's not saying that at all. It's saying that even, you know, teens can be great parents, just as well as a 40-year-old can be a great parent.
I see. So I know at some point we are going to be going to the crib that's in the dark at the moment, and then we are going to be talking about and not just talking about, but actually seeing an actual baby doll and the do's and don'ts of what parents should be doing and not doing. So that will be coming up here on From the Heart, which is only on at the Area Career Center in Hammond, Indiana. We thank our students for uh, manning everything as it relates to the programming for From the Heart. So, what would you say if a program like From the Heart would be um, nationalized, meaning it would have to be mandatory for all new parents?
To have
Meaning
to attend a class like this,
to
that'd
have
be
to attend that class
mandatory.
when they first become a parent.
I don't think that we're going to make anything mandatory for any parents.
Mm.
I would just hope that a new parent would be open-minded and objective to hear the new stuff that's out there.
Okay.
And I got some new research we're going to share today.
Very good.
Hot
then.
off the press.
So, I will continue on until I see something different here. But either way, so we are talking with Vickie Rainwater, and she is the program specialist for Mental Health America of Northwest Indiana for some time now. And our main focus of our program today is sleep safety when it comes to the little babies that we want to, like Vickie said, make sure that they can live, breathe, and make it to their first year birthday. So does that mean then that a lot of the unfortunate tragedies as it relates to babies and sleep come before age 1?
Yes. And most of them are preventable.
Okay. So I know that hopefully, like I said, we can take the opportunity. I mean, we are going to take the opportunity to go to the crib here whenever we're given the okay, because I am not seeing anything else right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on From the Heart, and only seen at the Area Career Center Multimedia Department in Hammond, Indiana. And so Vickie Rainwater and I were talking about Rainwater, first of all, and all that she does as it relates to the programs that she's a part of. But today's program has to do with sleep safety in infants. And so what do we have in front of us? A crib and a baby, a real life baby, not really, but a baby for demonstration purposes. So welcome back, I guess, and thank you for joining us here on From the Heart. Vickie, before we talk about the baby, let's talk about the crib, because I was envisioning the cribs that have the, the, what is it, the sticks or whatever.
Yeah, the pole. Yeah.
And then the what is the spaces in between. So tell me a little bit about those cribs. Were they safe cribs or not?
The new cribs that are out that have the slats that go down are safe. All of the manufacturers that make cribs work with the national programs and with doctors to make sure that those cribs are safe for their children to sleep in. So yes, those cribs with the slats with no bumper pads are perfectly safe for your babies.
Okay. Are there safer cribs than others?
I don't think so. I think that they're all equally made to protect the babies and keep them as safe as you possibly can.
Tell us a little bit about this crib itself.
So this is a Graco pack and play, and this pack and play actually comes from Cribs for Kids. We order all of our cribs and get most of our products through Cribs for Kids. Okay. And the reason being is because Cribs for Kids is a national program, and they've done all the research for us. They've done all the hard work. And they also partnered with the Indiana Health Department to get us the safest products that we can get. So this is a Graco. It is what you're looking at right now is a Graco with a bassinet. And so this baby is actually laying on the bassinet. And as you can see, everything is mesh here and everything is mesh back here, so that when the baby lays in this sleep environment, they have a good airflow. They have nice, clean air that's flowing over them and plenty of it. And then in this portion of the pack and play holds a baby up to 15 pounds. Now, once babies start to roll over or they're starting to break out of their swaddle, then you want to put them in, or they weigh more than 15 pounds, then you want to move them down to the bottom. The bottom will hold a baby up to 30 pounds. So it all depends on the child. You know, a lot of babies are 15 pounds when they're a year old, but they're rolling over and they're crawling. And once they start rolling over and doing that kind of stuff, then they're not safe on the top. You want to move them down. And then the bottom part will hold a baby up to 30 pounds, but some babies can be 30 pounds before they're a year old, and other babies aren't going to be 30 pounds till they're 2 or 3 years old. So you want to make sure that you're watching the weight limitations when you're using a product like this.
If maybe at this point you can bring up pick up the baby and show our audience about some of the do's and don'ts of holding a baby, and the other part that we showed me were in terms of some of the internal organs of the baby.
First of all, this is a safe sleep environment. Okay. There's nothing in this sleep environment except a fitted mattress, and the baby doesn't have any blankets or anything, but the clothing that the baby has on is a safe blanket to sleep in. So first of all, ABCs, alone on a back in a crib with nothing else in it.
Meaning no pillows, no blankets,
nope,
no toys.
No toys, no bumper pads, no dollies, no babies, no, none of that.
Why, generally speaking?
Those are all suffocation hazards.
Okay.
And one of the biggest risks for our babies is positional suffocation, that they get themselves into a position with all those warm fuzzy things, and then they can't get themselves out of that compromised situation. And then that's what helps them to demise. So that's the downfall of it, and not wanting to have that. So even though we tell them, say no blankets, this is it, baby actually has a blanket on, and this blanket is called a Halo Sack. And so it is a name brand product, or sleep sacks. But Halo actually did the research, and I want to say it was like back in 2012-ish, where they actually did the research on their products, and they made them, and they're designed so that if you buy the product that is the right size for your baby, that the blankets all stay where we want it to stay, and that they don't rise up and get into their face. So this is a Swaddle Sack. So when you're bringing your baby home and you wanted to put it to sleep at night, you don't want to use the old-fashioned Swaddle Sacks to put them to sleep, because they're just not necessarily safe. This product is actually designed to stay where we put it. So as you can see, these are the wings. And as we open it up, this sleep sack, it'll zip from the bottom up or from the top down to allow you to be able to change the baby. Now, after baby starts to break out of a swaddle, you don't want to swaddle them anymore, because then that becomes a risk hazard too. Then you want to transition to a sleep sack. And so this is what the sleep sacks look like. Now you will see that these sleep sacks do not have any sleeves on them. And this was purposely done so babies don't overheat. Because when babies overheat, they have a tendency to go to sleep, and sometimes babies go to sleep and they don't wake back up.
Okay.
So this product is designed specifically not to overheat this baby, to keep this baby warm, and to replicate what a blanket is. Now, this baby in itself comes from Miro Labs. This is a brand new product out through Miro Labs, which is located in Fort Wayne. And this is the first product that we've gotten in a really long time, since the Halo Sacks, that will help us understand positionally why a baby is safer on its back than if it's on its stomach. So
in other words, you're saying up to a certain age, a baby should never be put on its stomach in the crib. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
correct, yes.
Because if you do, what can happen?
When we put them on their stomach, they can have positional asphyxiation. They can suffocate.
They can suffocate.
So babies are at highest risk for SIDS between 4 and 8 weeks.
Okay.
The risk for SIDS is drastically reduced between 3 and 4 months old. So between 3 and 4 months old is when they're starting to roll over,
Okay.
and they're starting to be more in control of themselves. So once they start to, so we're going to put them to sleep on their back. Once they start to roll over, though, you're going to want to make sure that you take this bassinet and you put them all the way down so they can roll over. And then once they roll over, they say just to leave them alone. We put them to sleep at night. We're going to put them on their back. But if they flip over and they go to their stomach on their own, we're going to leave them alone at that point.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So then with this baby, so there's two things that for positional asphyxia, that's really important to know. So for the first, why is a baby actually safer on its back? Here's the meat and potatoes of it. It's going to take me about not even 5 minutes to explain it. But first, I'm going to use my new dowel to show you why. So this dowel actually comes apart. And what we're going to look at is we are going to look at the baby's lungs, the baby's stomach. So we have the stomach, the esophagus, we have the lungs, and we have the trachea. And this is where the food would come down. If we take our baby and we put its lungs in its stomach where it's supposed to be, and as you see, I'm going to show you first, there's nothing in the lungs. They're empty, right?
Okay.
So now I'm going to turn and I'm going to take this baby that's been on its back, and now I'm going to put it on its side. The first thing that we're going to see is that when we put it on its side, that the fluid starts to go into the lungs.
Okay.
So here it's on its side. The fluid now starts to go in the lungs. If we took and we put this baby on its belly, we put it on its belly, what we're going to see now is that the fluid goes from the stomach and it goes into the lungs. Why? It's very easy to explain why. So see, baby on its stomach's got its lungs full of fluid. What we know is when a baby is on its back is that the stomach is the lowest point of gravity and the lungs sit on top of it. So if this baby were to spit up, this fluid should technically come up and it should either roll off or it should be re-ingested and go back down into the stomach. And so that's what keeps them safe. We'll take that out of there so you can see what being safe. And you can see even trying to get the fluid out of the lungs, after I turn this over, it's really hard to get that fluid out of the lungs. This is the same thing with a baby. Once it gets the fluid in the lungs, it's really hard to get that fluid out. All right, so this baby is safe right now. We put it on its back. The stomach is the lowest point of gravity. There is no fluid in our lungs, and everything is in the stomach. We turn it on its side. We start to get that trickle into the lungs.
Okay.
And we turn it onto its belly, and now the fluid is going directly into the lungs, because now the lowest point of gravity isn't the stomach. Now the lowest point of gravity is the lungs.
Is it a good idea or a bad idea if a family has more than one child to put more than one child in a crib?
No, even twins should have their own bed.
Every child, regardless of how many babies a family might have, needs to be in their own crib and not share a crib. That's what you're saying.
Yep. And so with my program at Mental Health America, we can make sure that we do a safe sleep class with you, and then each one of your babies would get a pack and play, whether it was twins or triplets. And we actually had quads. This was the first year that we had quads. We had a mom that was expecting 4. She did the safe sleep class with us, and she got 4 pack and plays. So we made sure that each one of those babies had a safe place to sleep.
Okay. You know what? Of course, we don't have the time here today, but tell us a little bit more about the safe sleep class that you do teach. How long is it? And what are in addition to what are some other main points that you talk about in the actual program that we don't have the time for here today?
So at Mental Health America, we offer 3 classes a month.
Is it the same class over and over, or is it 3 stages of the same class?
No, it's the same class over and over.
Okay.
And so We offer it on the second Tuesday, the third Wednesday, and the last Wednesday of the month. 2 of the classes are at night, so we accommodate working parents. The program is free. There is no cost to you.
Okay.
All that you have to do is participate and attend, and then you can come and pick up your pack and play from us. And we do have, obviously, we have forms that you have to fill out because this program is sponsored through the Indiana Health Department as well as through Mental Health America and through, I lost my train of thought, through the Indiana Health Department.
Here's another thing, maybe not necessarily with tiny little babies and so forth, but is it good or bad or ugly idea when when parents sleep with their small children in a bed or maybe in a sofa?
Good point. So, sleeping with your child, this is an intergenerational thing.
Okay.
My grandmother did it, my great-grandmother did it, my great-great-grandmother did it. It's what our people do. What we know now is that co-sleeping is not a safe environment to sleep in.
Okay.
So, number one, because when they're sleeping with you, they can overheat.
Okay.
And what I didn't get into was the physiology of the baby's brain and that portion of it, but the brainstem is in control of sleep and respiration and body temperature control. And when we co-sleep, we overheat them. And when we overheat babies, they have a tendency to go to sleep,
Okay.
and then they don't wake back up. So
Okay.
co-sleeping is not a good thing. Now, you can put this right next to your bed to where the mom could reach in and she could breastfeed her baby. If she fed her baby, then she could reach in and she could put her baby down, or she could pick her baby back up. You can have it right next to you.
Vickie, we have about a minute left to go on a program here. When you do the classes, are they in English and in Spanish?
We do have them in English and Spanish, yes.
Okay. And so where can, in terms of website, phone number, emails, real quickly?
So Mental Health America is www.mhanwi.org. All of our programming is on there. Or you can call our corporate office, which is 219-973-7733.
Maybe. Okay, either way, we'll put it on our website.
I don't ever call it.
At this point, Vickie, we want to thank you very much for being our
Thank
special
you.
guest
It
here
was
on
nice
From
to
the
see
Heart. We want to thank the baby for participating. We want to thank the crew for making this possible and so forth. And on that note, stay tuned for the next episode of From the Heart. And then you can watch the program on the YouTube channel for the Area Career Center. On that note, thank you very much.
Thank you.